What's up, y'all? What's going on? Today is January 21st, 2019, which is recognized as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, MLK Jr. Day. Um, in light of today being a day that we honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I really want to speak about the state of black youth, black male youth in the inner city, in the hoods that I grew up in. And I really want to talk to my black men, old and young. There's a lot of things that has to change, a lot of things that has to stop. First, I want to start off with saying that I recognize the positive things that are going on. I recognize that there's a lot of young men from our communities, like especially in Chicago, Illinois. There are a lot of young men who, despite what's being displayed in the news, in broadcast, journalism, or television media, there are a lot of black young men from urban prep. Urban prep, college preparatory? That are all going to college. They have like 99% college acceptance rate, which is brilliant. You got a lot of young brothers who I graduated and went to school with that came from inner city schools who are, one of my best friends, he's an accountant. One of my other best friends is in the middle of earning a PhD in mathematics, a field where a lot of black men are absent in. There's not a lot of black people in general are absent in. So he's doing his thing in the STEM field, and mathematics is no joke. Some of my friends that I know, young black men from inner cities or from poverty-stricken areas, are educators, are policemen, and are doing things to advance themselves and their family, but also to correct a lot of the wrongs that happen in the hoods that we lived in, correct a lot of the wrongdoings and the wrong teachings that were taught in our communities. I'm gonna say this. In the hood, a lot of the ideologies, a lot of the thinking has to change, period. A lot of the thinking that a lot of the young men in my neighborhood, especially the young ones that's running around in gangs and all of that, it has to change. And it starts with the older men who are still residing in the hoods with these young men. For grown men to be sitting around telling war stories about hood, street, drug violence, bullshit is what I like to call it. That's embarrassing. There's no way you should be bragging about your drug exploits and violent escapades with young kids. Because all that's doing is teaching them that you're glamorizing it and letting them know that you're making it seem like it's something cool or something to be proud of. I see grown men, like I remember a while ago, I never made a video on this. I seen Whack 100, right? That's the guy that run around with the game. Is he his manager, as his OG or his big homie or whatever? Whack putting up pictures of him being in jail like I was 16 in the pen. Most of y'all would have broke or folded in here. Fam, stop bragging about being in prison. 15 and 16, you shouldn't have been in jail. You shouldn't be in jail, period, for one. And stop trying to downplay other young men for not being able to go through jail and trying to not being able to persevere in jail. Like, no, that's not a goal of young black men to be in prison and, to be fighting for their life in the criminal justice system. Like, no, that's not okay. And a lot of that needs to stop. I've seen it way too often. And I've seen it up close and personal. And I'm so glad that I had a father figure. I'm not a father figure. I had a father, not in my household, but in my life, to let me know all of that was bullshit that should never have been sitting around being boasted about. I'm so glad I had a mother and father who was able to raise me to be a leader and not a follower. And that's my message to the youth. Be a leader and not a follower. If you know something is wrong, use your moral compass and deviate away from it. Deviate away from all BS that is lingering in the hood. All of the BS that's being like preached on, because in a lot of our communities and I'm talking to my young black brothers because I love y'all. Like, I love y'all. You know what I mean? Like, I remember me being conflicted before I went to college. I told myself I would want a better life. You know, for me and my family, I want us to live good somewhere else. When I was a kid, I wanted to leave Chicago so much and live in a place with a tropical weather and away from all type of violence and all of that stuff too. And I still want to live nice and live in luxury for sure. But after I went to college, I realized that I owe it to my people to try to make some type of change in the communities that I come from, right? And so I said it to say this. All of, it starts with us. All young black males in the hood, we got to stop thinking that anything that's not street is not black enough. It ain't commendable. It ain't respected. If you ain't street, it ain't respected. I think that's the most sucker stuff you could ever teach a young man. Because he's going to grow up thinking that criminal activity equates to being respected and being honored in the hood. And to me, an honorable man is a man who makes an honest living, who takes care of his children, his family, and carries himself with respect and dignity, and is not an ignorant man. He's not he's not advocating ignorance. He's advocating advancement of his people through education, through being self-sufficient, through entrepreneurship in the mind. Those are the things that I believe we should be. That's the only thing that should be talked about in the hood. Because in the hood, you already got this strike against you that, first of all, we know how society views black men, most of the dominant society. A lot of the how black men or black people in general, we're looked at as the lowest on the totem pole. And that's being real with y'all. So that's one strike. Second strike is you coming from an area where the resources are not the best. Socioeconomic resources, you're just not at an advantage. So these are why these things like economic independence and entrepreneurship and education and all of these things, and also to be who you are in its entirety. Never try to be anybody but yourself. These things should be taught about how to be. They should be taught in the hood. These are things that should be advocated in the hood. Being true to yourself, being a man of your word, being a stand-up man who is honorable and respectable. Those things, all that ignorant stuff, I'm not for it. Like I said before, I see times where dudes get out of prison and they did all this time for selling drugs and being the biggest kingpins in the world, and we try to sit up here when they come out and praise them and worship them and worship the ground they walk on. Listen, I'm glad, brother, you out of jail and you're able to have a new start in your life. I'm hoping if you have children that you're in their lives, or you have children that in your family that are without fathers, that you're raising them and helping to mold them into the right path that they should be in. But what I'm saying is that we're not going to honor you because you sold drugs in the community and was basically, you were basically playing a part in killing our people. I'm not going to honor that, and I'm not going to respect that at all. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm going to do. Hold on one second. Hey, be quiet. I'm not going to respect that at all. I'm not going to be trying to throw roses at your feet because you served time in prison and you was a king. But like, listen, fam, no, we got to stop. I see dudes come from jail getting treated better than a college graduate. They got welcome home parties and all type of stuff. I understand he's been gone for a long time. Freedom has been gone, but those are mistakes that he made and he chose to make. So I'm not saying we shouldn't welcome our family. I've had family come home from doing drug and from doing jail time, and we still were happy to see them, but I'm not going to worship the things that he did. Like it was honorable for him to commit to a lifestyle of crime. I'm never going to do that. And that's why we have to stop honoring that type of stuff, because that what tricks the youth in our neighborhood to think that they should do those type of things because they're going to get praise. When a young man graduates from college, a young person in general, when they graduate from college, it is something to commend. It is something to respect. It is something to celebrate in its entirety. So it needs to be a reverse order. When a man come home in prison, you should, from selling drugs and all that type of stuff, you should tell him, I'm happy to see you, brother, but we trying to get you on the right track. The party should be thrown for the people that's going to school, getting their bachelor's, master's, doctorate degrees, going to take the bar exam and be lawyers and being productive members of society and helping to advance our people out of negativity and out of disenfranchisement. Like, so that's what I feel like we should honor. On Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I think we gotta change that culture, man. Change that culture. We going to prison, dudes. People taking pictures of dudes in jail. Like my man Meek Mill say, I'm on the gram posting for the pictures. Like I'm going on my prom or something. Like I ain't facing time or something. Riding for these dudes like that stuff won't hurt my mom or something. Yes, out here hurting and embarrassing your family. Thinking it's honorable, and you got older people in the hood, even young people too, saluting ignorance. And that shall not be tolerated. Because you're not street does not make you corny, does not make you lame or anything of that. It makes you a smart man, because in the end, you're going to have less problems in your life than a person who tries to attach themselves to street stuff all their life. Nothing positive is going to come from a man that's just living a whole bunch of street stuff and all of that. Yes, I listen to rap music that has drug references and all that type of stuff, but those men are not, as you can see. And, you know, I really respect the ones that get in there and they talk about how that wasn't the productive way to live. You know what I mean? How it wasn't productive to them, for them to live their way, because they making music and they're not dedicated to street life. That's the only reason they're successful. They don't live that street life no more. It's nothing positive comes from that. Bad karma is a such thing as karma. And when you have that somebody calling me right now. I'm gonna call him back. When you have bad karma, when you're doing negativity, bad karma is for real. It's gonna come on you, and it's not gonna be pretty, man. It's not gonna be pretty. So we need to stop teaching this. We gotta stop this ignorant cycle. This ignorant cycle of old heads in the hood telling us we should have been having sex with the girls that we liked when we were 12 and 13. That's sickening. That's sickening. That's sickening. Like, that's perverted for you to even be telling a young man that. That's why we had so many young men in our communities. You know, they was you have so many young men in our communities that became fathers at such a young age because they were taught. Not all of them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying everybody was. You know, I was 18, but we had, and I was raised properly. You know, but anyway, damn, what was I saying? Yeah. So you got a lot of young men in our community who listen to that. You're supposed to be having, say, 13, 14, become fathers at 15 years old, 15, 14, 16, and they just run away from that and shy away from it because they never anticipated having to deal with the consequences of getting a young woman pregnant. They just listen to all the old heads telling them, you supposed to be hitting that. You supposed to be hitting that. Are you serious? You serious? No, and listen again too. Right? I know things happen. Should people become fathers at a young age? It happens. But what I'm saying is, it shouldn't be something to where old heads are preaching what's it called? People that just honor themselves or say that they OGs, giving them themselves their own title. OGs shouldn't be telling young men to be having sex at 14, 15. It's just not, no, that's not a good look at all. It's not. And yeah, man, a lot of this stuff gotta stop. And we have to teach our young men to be accountable for their actions. And to let them know for every negative action, there's a consequence to it. And the consequences are oftentimes not pretty. And I just want my young black male youth to know that, listen, man, the world is yours. The world is yours. And you have to know that. You have to be a confident individual, especially in the hood, because people try to downplay when you're trying to be positive. You know, that preaching and boasting on negativity got to stop. But I want the young male youth to know you got to be leaders. You have to think for yourself. Have to want better for yourself than a life of crime, a life of ignorance, and a life of just BS. So when I talk about my friends and what they've done with their lives, I have friends that are professional athletes that are earning 6 figures, playing a sport that they love, using a skill to provide for their families. And my boys coming from project housing. Some of them used to live in shelters. So I'm trying to teach my young men that, yes, although that we have a lot of things that don't work in our favor. Yes, a lot of black men, we have young black men, we have a lot of stuff that don't work in our favor. We still have to have the mindset to rise above those challenges and obstacles and not get in our own way. You know what I'm saying? Not get in our own way. Not create circumstances that make our life much harder than it already is. So, young black man, happy MLK Day. But be leaders. Be leaders. Be somebody that your daughter would look up to. Be somebody that your son would look up to. Be someone that your daughter would love to date. Not a man she would want to run away from. That's my ideology. You know what I mean? I live to be a man that my daughter can respect and love and know that, you know, I'm a hardworking man and I live life in a correct and honorable way and not a foul way. You know, so I want young brothers to think about that. I really want y'all to ponder. Y'all, a lot of y'all comment and tell me your thoughts. Just interact with me. And we can talk about it. But I'm just so tired of a lot of the stuff that I've seen. Like, you know, when I come home and I see a lot of kids getting clowned on for not being street and not, you know, and not wanting to like, I remember, like, I'm gonna talk on this too. I remember when I went to college, people told me I was gonna become a drinker and a smoker. I had it in my mind I was a leader, not a follower. I didn't care what anybody else was doing. I was gonna do what I wanted to do, what was for me. I knew drinking and smoking was not for me, and it's still not for me to this day. It's not for me. I might sip some champagne every now and then, but I'm not no drinker. I never smoked nothing a day in my life, and I made up my mind that I wasn't. No matter what was going on around me, no matter what influential was going on or how many different influences, you got to be you got to rise above peer pressure. You have to be a leader in your mind and know that, and I'm not bragging on myself, but I knew that those stuff that was not for me. I knew I had to want to live for myself, and I knew I wanted to rise above stuff that I came from and go to school and graduate and get a degree and get a great job that would help take care of my family and help provide for my daughter, for my mother, for my father. Like, just had them living much better than, you know, than what we grew up living in. You know what I'm saying? So, and my cousins and my nieces and stuff like that, like my nephew, all that type of stuff. I really wanted to be a positive role model for them. And to let other young men in the hood know that you don't gotta be street to be cool. You don't have to be street to be cool. I was prom king in high school. I didn't smoke or drink. I was Mr. Mississippi Valley State University. Wasn't smoking and drinking in college. I wasn't acting wild, ignorant or nothing like that. I was being myself. And just staying true to my nature. Staying true to my friends and staying within my inner circle that I knew wanted to see me succeed. And also being in a crowd of people who are like-minded as you is the key. If you're a smart person and you elevating yourself above ignorance, don't hang around ignorant people. It's going to lead to nowhere but a path of destruction and have you in some BS that you never wanted to be in the first place. So, my message to the young black youth, man, be leaders. Be leaders, and surround yourself with nothing but positive people. That's why I'm so proud of my friends. Y'all see, I went to my boy Derek Jones's wedding. He's a student that's in the middle of a PhD program for mathematics. His wife is a nurse, and you know, they live life right. They respect, like, man, one of the most respectable men I've ever met in my life. Just a man of honor. Has a code of ethics, and that's what we need. Code of ethics. We need that taught and established and drilled into the minds of the youth in the hood. Not a code of ignorance. What's going on, y'all? It's Machiavelli Mills TV. I'm Malcolm Miller. Peace.